Have you ever landed in a place that just feels different from the second you step off the plane? I'm talking about that visceral feeling where the air smells a little bit more like adventure, the streets hum with a rhythm you haven't quite heard before, and suddenly, your watch doesn't seem to matter as much as the sunset. That's exactly what happens to so many Americans when they touch down in Argentina. It's not just the flight path or the 12-hour journey across time zones, it's a fundamental, tectonic shift in perspective. You see, Argentina isn't just another stamp in your passport or a checkmark on a travel bucket list. It's an experience that grabs you by the soul and refuses to let go. I've met countless people, expats, digital nomads, and weary corporate travelers, who came for a 2-week vacation and ended up staying for years, sometimes decades. Why? Well, that's the mystery we're going to unravel today. We're going to talk about the lifestyle, the food, the people, and that elusive, intoxicating sense of freedom that makes this place feel like a spiritual sanctuary. So, grab a coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive into why Argentina is currently the ultimate love affair for so many of us. Let's start with the lifestyle. In the US, we are obsessed with the hustle culture, aren't we? We live by our digital calendars, our relentless Slack notifications, and that constant, gnawing pressure to be hyper-productive every waking second. But in Argentina, they do things fundamentally differently. You'll notice it immediately when you sit down at a neighborhood cafe in the leafy, historic district of Palermo. Nobody is rushing you. You order a café con leche and a fresh, buttery media luna, and you can sit there for 3 hours just watching the world go by. It's not laziness, it's an art form. It's called sobremesa, the time spent lingering long after the plates are cleared, talking about life, philosophy, politics, or just nothing at all. This intentional slowness is something that most Americans aren't used to, and at first, it might even feel a bit uncomfortable. We are conditioned to feel guilty if we aren't doing something. But then, you start to get it. You realize that life isn't meant to be a checklist of errands or a race to the weekend. When you're walking down the tree-lined streets of Buenos Aires, you see people actually looking at each other, not at their glowing phone screens. You see neighbors chatting on balconies for an hour, laughing over trivialities. It's a lifestyle that prioritizes genuine human connection over cold, calculated efficiency, and for a lot of us coming from the high-stress, burnout-prone environment of North America, that's not just refreshing, it's life-changing. It's about reclaiming your own time, and that's a luxury you can't put a price tag on. In a world of instant gratification, Argentina teaches you the beauty of the long game. Then there's the social culture, which is perhaps the most striking contrast to the American way of life. If you're an American, you're probably used to a certain level of social distance. We're friendly, sure, but we like our personal bubbles. In Argentina, that bubble is a little different. It's a culture built on warmth, physical touch, and a genuine, insatiable interest in who you are. The beso, that single kiss on the cheek, is the standard greeting, even if you've just met someone 10 seconds ago. It breaks down walls instantly. It says, I see you, and you are welcome here. And the way they socialize is incredibly inclusive. You don't just go out for a drink, you go out to become part of a group. Argentines are masters of conversation. They love to debate, to share stories, and to really listen. You'll find yourself in a local peña or a dimly lit neighborhood bar, and within 20 minutes, you're part of the family. They want to know where you're from, why you're here, and what you think about the state of the world. It's a level of social intimacy that can be overwhelming to an introvert at first, but once you lean into it, you'll never want to go back to the superficiality of small talk. It's about building a community, and that profound sense of belonging is something so many travelers are starving for in our increasingly digital, isolated lives. You aren't just a tourist, you are a participant in their social fabric. And we have to talk about the food. Oh, the food. If you think you've had a steak, Wait until you've had an authentic Argentine asado. This isn't just cooking, it's a sacred, centuries-old ritual. It's the smoke, the intoxicating smell of the meat on the grill, and the deep anticipation of the feast. You go to a local parrilla, and you realize that food here is a spiritual event. It's not about grabbing a quick bite to eat, it's about the experience of eating together for hours on end. The quality of the grass-fed beef is legendary, of course, but it's the simplicity that gets you. It's just coarse salt, fire, and time. And let's not forget the wine. Malbec from the high-altitude vineyards of Mendoza isn't just a drink, it's a cultural ambassador that tells the story of the land. Drinking wine in Argentina feels like you're part of a long, beautiful history that spans generations. Whether you're grabbing a steaming empanada on the street corner or sitting down for a 5-course dinner in a high-end restaurant in Recoleta, the focus is always on the raw quality of the ingredients and the sheer pleasure of the experience. It's a culinary culture that celebrates life in its most primal form, and honestly, after living on processed fast food and protein bars for a while, eating like this feels like a genuine, soul-nourishing awakening. Now, let's talk about the nightlife. Because Buenos Aires is a city that literally doesn't sleep, it pulses with an ancient, restless energy. In the States, if you're out at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday, you're probably looking for trouble or just finishing a late shift. In Buenos Aires, you're just getting started. The dinner culture starts late, usually around 10 p.m., and that's just the appetizer for the night. The clubs, the bars, the underground jazz spots, and the tango halls, they all come alive when most of us would be dead asleep. It's a vibrant, electric energy that's hard to describe until you feel it vibrating through the pavement beneath your feet. You walk through the cobblestone streets of San Telmo or the grand, European-style avenues of Recoleta late at night, and you see people of all ages enjoying the city. It's not just for the young, it's for everyone. The music, the dancing, the laughter, it all creates this sense of endless possibility. For a traveler, this nightlife offers a kind of liberation. You're not bound by the typical, rigid 9-to-5, early-to-bed schedule, and you're invited to experience the city in its most authentic, nocturnal form. It's chaotic, it's loud, and it's absolutely intoxicating. It makes you feel like you are finally living in the now instead of preparing for tomorrow. And then there are the people. The men and women of Argentina have a certain geniesque that is impossible to ignore. There's a raw passion in the way they speak, a confidence in their posture, and a deep, fierce sense of pride in their heritage. They aren't afraid to be themselves, regardless of what the neighbors think. You'll find that Argentine women are incredibly strong, articulate, and fiercely independent, often leading the conversation with a sharp, intellectual wit that keeps you on your toes and challenges your own perceptions. And the men? They're passionate, expressive, and deeply romantic about their country and their culture. There's no pretense, no fake it till you make it attitude. They'll tell you exactly what they think, and they'll do it with a level of charisma that's hard to resist. Whether you're making new friends or falling in love, the human element in Argentina is what leaves the biggest impression on your psyche. They bring a level of emotional intensity to every interaction that makes you feel more alive, more present, and more human. It's a culture of big personalities and even bigger hearts, and it's one of the primary reasons why Americans find it so agonizingly difficult to pack up and leave when their flight home finally arrives. Finally, the sense of freedom. This is the big one. When you're in Argentina, you feel like you can actually breathe for the first time in years. Maybe it's the sheer, staggering vastness of the landscape, from the jagged, icy glaciers in Patagonia to the shimmering, surreal salt flats in the north. Or maybe it's just the cultural permission to be whoever you want to be. There's a certain, healthy disregard for the rigid rules of corporate life that is incredibly, profoundly liberating. You see people pursuing their passions, whether it's art, music, literature, or just the art of living well. You realize that you don't need to be defined by your job title, your career trajectory, or your bank account. You can just be. For an American traveler, this is a massive, life-altering realization. It's the feeling of finally shedding a heavy, suffocating coat you didn't even realize you were wearing. You're free to explore, free to connect, and free to redefine what a successful life actually looks like in your own terms. It's this sense of being unburdened by the expectations of others that makes Argentina so addictive. It's a place where you can reinvent yourself, or simply find the long-lost parts of yourself that you've been neglecting in the pursuit of a normal life. It's a beautiful, messy, and wonderful journey. Argentina isn't just a destination on a map, it's a mirror. It shows you what's possible when you slow down, open your heart to strangers, and let yourself be moved by a culture that truly knows how to live. So, if you're feeling a bit lost, burnt out, or just looking for a sign to pack your bags and head south, this is it. Go find your own rhythm, your own sobremesa, and your own piece of that Argentine magic. You might just find the version of yourself you've been looking for all along. Subscribe for cinematic